What's going on, guys? This is No Filter, a Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Wizrad, and this is episode 15, being recorded on April 22nd, 2018. I don't know what the hell that was at the start there, but I'm keeping it in. So another episode coming out here. I have a lot of videos coming up soon, so I wanted to make sure I got my podcast episode out there really soon, really quickly. I have a lot of other videos that are, I have all my points written down that I want to talk about, then I can just kind of wing it from there. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of them that I want to do, and again, I'm super busy now with during the week, so it's really tough to get into making some more content for you guys. So I'm going to hopefully be able to record a lot on the weekend here and then post throughout the week for everybody. Hope you guys enjoy it, but let's just jump right into the news. So first bit of news, Limited Run Games, they have their next SKU of Nintendo Switch games coming out, and this consists of Mercenary Kings, I believe it's called the Reloaded Edition, and Flint Hook. So these are up for pre-order as of Monday, April 23rd, which is tomorrow, after the day that I'm recording this, probably the day that you guys will be hearing this. I'm lucky so far with limited run games. I held off on Flint Hook. I did want to grab that game, but I held off on it. I wasn't too interested in Mercenary Kings, but I'm going to be grabbing it anyways. I'm going to go for the full collection of limited run games for Switch. Yeah, I'm hoping Golf Story comes out very soon too. That was one of the rumors I heard before, that Golf Story was going to be the first Nintendo Switch game from Limited Run Games, but I'm anticipating that that'll be coming out at some point very soon, and I think that'll be a big one. So, Mercenary Kings and Flint Hook, open pre-orders, by the way. They're still doing the open pre-orders, no limit yet. I think after they do a few more of the games, they'll probably end up cutting it down to see, okay, well, you know, these games are getting an average of this many people buying it, so we'll put the limit at around that. Very cool. Mercenary Kings and Flint Hook. Again, two other games I haven't bought. Thimbleweed Park, the first one, I did not get that one either. For some reason, I knew I would love Thimbleweed Park, but yeah, for some reason I just held off on it, and I'm pretty glad I did, because right now I'm going 3-3 right now for games that I'm going to be buying physical that I didn't already buy digital, which I hate to do. I hate to buy a game twice, but for physical, I'm going to probably have to do that at some point with limited run games, because I can already see them really pushing to get Celeste for limited run games, but we'll see where that goes. Next bit of news. Just kind of a general discussion about Nintendo Labo. Yes, so that was released on the same day as God of War, on April 20th, 420. And yeah, honestly, like, it looks really, really cool. I'm liking some of the content people are bringing out for it. Honestly, like, the robot thing looks insanely intricate. You know, like, I forget how, was it 3 to 4 hours or something it was to actually make that, or maybe it was 5 to 6 for that and 3 to 4 for the piano. I don't know, but it seems insanely intricate, and I think this brings me back to like my days when I was a lot younger. I would do models with my grandpa. So we'd like be putting together like submarines. I remember my older brother did a Titanic with my grandpa and everything like that, and I was doing like submarines and different things like that, planes, back then, and that was a really good kind of teaching tool for me. I think it allowed me to focus. I was like a young kid, always going outside to play and stuff like that. So having that focus and having to pour time into making something that isn't also just a played thing. It was very, very good for my development, I found, and which probably got me into architecture and stuff like that. So like that's what this kind of reminds me of, and I can really see like a father with his son putting together this kit for a while and then just acting goofy with it and playing a game after with it, and like hours of fun. Really, like it was like for me with Lego. I never really played with the Lego as much back when I was a kid, but I would actually just love making it, and then after I finished making it, I'd have extra pieces. I'd have all my extra pieces, and I'd make new stuff, and it was always about the making of the stuff rather than playing in it, kind of like a Minecraft. Right? I'm sure that, honestly, I've never really played Minecraft, but honestly, I bet that's where the fun is creating something, not actually, walking through it or whatever. The engineering just seems on point. The gameplay seems like a blast too for the robot one, for maybe 10 minutes though. Like, I just don't think it's for me. I don't think I could really jump into the robot one other than just the engineering and design standpoint. it's just the game isn't there for too long for me. I don't think that's what it would be, and just because it's just one game like that, I just don't think I'd be able to jump into it and really want to spend. I think it's like $100 Canadian, which is just insane. Yeah, no, so not that. But as far as the variety kit goes, I might have to grab this. I don't know, like the thing that's really deterring me. I would have bought it day one if it wasn't that as soon as you build all these cardboard pieces, I don't think they're really accustomed to, you know, taking them apart and storing them away in a small box again. You know, I'm in like an apartment, you know, not too much, not a crazy amount of room. So I don't want to have a lot of random stuff kind of sitting around. At least not yet, not until I have a bigger place. So yeah, I don't know. I probably won't be getting that, but I really kind of want to. You know, the piano stuff looks really cool. I've liked that a lot so far. But what really got me interested was watching a Nintendo Beyond's video of the fishing game, which just seems fucking awesome. I love that. It looks so cool. I just love the engineering behind these things, man. Like the Joy-Cons are something really, really cool, and I just really want to see Nintendo use these Joy-Cons for, you know, legitimate games. You know what I mean? Like this brings me back to the Wii days and how exciting it was to see all these different games with these different ideas and how you control them. Is always something new and fresh. And, you know, this is something like that, but it's not exactly a game, you know, that's really meant for, you know, the gamers out there. It's not like a Red Steel 2, like how it was and how it's completely different from other games. It's not like, you know, Wii Sports in that way. You know what I mean? It's very different. It's not really meant for me. But again, man, if they ever do go on sale, which probably would mean that Labo didn't perform too well, that's one question I have. I have no idea. I literally have no idea if this is going to be a big success or not. Because right now you just see a lot of like the Nintendo faithful on like YouTube and stuff like that, you know, have to cover Nintendo stuff, so they're buying it. I just really wonder, is this really going to reach out to a lot of other people? Are parents going to go buy a Switch, you know, $300 or whatever, then also go buy the Labo for another $100 pretty much? Yeah, I don't know, like $400 to jump into something like that. But yeah, obviously they'd have Odyssey and everything as well. I don't know. I'm interested. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, so that's enough for Labo for now. I'm sure I'll talk about it in the future as well, but we'll see. Next bit of news was Dark Souls Switch was delayed. And, you know, like, I get it. I get that it's on the Switch. It might take some more time. But, you know, you announced the game for the Switch, and the first announcement anyone gets is from a Switch presentation. Yet you don't ensure that that is the version that is out day and date with everything. You know, I'm so goddamn sick of devs doing this shit. Like, it happens all the time with the Wii U. It happened all the time with the Wii U. And now even with Switch, I don't know, it's bullshit. You know, as I've repeated all the time before, all these games, they expect them to do super well on Switch, yet they'll release them after the other versions, after the hype is down, and they're usually inferior versions tech-wise. So it's like, what do you want from the Nintendo fans or from people, Switch owners? You know what I mean? Like, you're basically shitting on them and saying, hey, buy our stuff or you're not going to get any more stuff from us. I just hate that shit. And obviously there's got to be an issue here because they did have plans to do that. There might be some bugs they wanted to work out. I've heard that from PAX East that it actually performed really well. But, like, I don't know, man. It's just super fucking frustrating to me that this keeps happening. And I really want to get over that hump of Switch games where now all of a sudden Switch is getting the games day and date. There's no big delays. There's no big changes. I know that there's that big rush after Switch came out, probably 3, 4, or 5 months after it was out, that third parties were like, oh shit, we want to release our games. So hopefully they're getting over that hump where all these companies have had their time to, port games to the Switch or bring games to the Switch and not have to deal with all this bullshit behind the scenes. It really just sours my experience. And, you know, I was, with the price of Dark Souls, I was thinking of buying it again, even though I played it on Steam. But yeah, I don't know. It's super frustrating. And obviously this isn't like some malicious thing or whatever that you'd probably see with like EA and other companies or whatever. But I don't know. It's still just super frustrating to me. Next, I want to talk about the Super Smash Bros. Switch fake leak. And Yeah, it was the one with Springman and Decidueye. It was in like that one arms ring area, and I can really, really appreciate this leak. It looked really nice, but obviously it's not fooling anyone. I don't think the dude or the dudette thought it would work. It would trick anybody either. But like obviously like the animations are too stiff, they're too different. But like the amount of work that went into this, and to make a really good looking stadium piece and everything like that, and have a fully modeled Springman with some moves and stuff like that, and Decidueye, I thought it looked really, really good, and I can appreciate that. And I'm expecting to see some more of these. The more that technology is easy for everyone else to use and it goes quicker for everybody, the more people can do these as hobbies and just kind of create these little creations. And it looked really cool to see Springman in like in a Smash Bros setting like that. That is one thing I'm interested in. If the ARMS characters are in fact in the game, I wonder what their moveset actually will be, and how will that work with extendable arms, because that's a big advantage, having a reach over everybody else like that. And and you want to make it clear that they do have extendable arms in the game. And if you do that with just typical Smash Brothers reach and stuff like that, will it really seem like advantage, or is it just kind of like, oh yeah, a guy who punches? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's interesting, but again, I just want to commend whoever made that leak. It looked really nice, but obviously obviously that wasn't an actual leak. But hey, I'd love to see another one. In fact, how about you do one with Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright? That'd be great. Yeah, anyway, next bit of news, and the last bit of news I want to talk about here, is the new Nintendo patent. So if you guys haven't seen this, it looks like it's basically 2 or 3 or 4 Switch screens that basically can go together. Think like when you're having 2 or 3 monitors on your computer, and you set it up that you have monitor 1, 2, and 3 in a different orientation, and then your mouse just moves from one screen to the other as if it's just one big screen in front of you. Yeah, it's interesting, but I doubt anything comes out of this, like, unless it's just an add-on for the Switch, where it's better for co-op games, where say 2 people bring their Switches together and they meet up at some place and they put them together and they can play like air hockey on it or something. So each person has their own screen, but they're all connected with the other Switch device. I could see that being a thing, but as far as this being a separate bit of hardware for them or something like that, I can't see this. Having multiple screens like that again, the costs are already pretty high with the Switch, I think, because of the tech. But I don't know, we'll see where that goes. But again, I feel like that could be a cool little idea that as a firmware update for the Switch, where basically, hey, yeah, you can just connect your Switch to another person's Switch, and then all of a sudden you have a double-sized screen, or or the screens can be connected, where again, like, say you're playing air hockey or something, or like, soccer or something like that, where like you have your side and they have their side. I don't know, it could be cool like that. Then again, Nintendo also has tons of patents, and this is just probably one of the ones that was refined enough that they're like, okay, yeah, let's go issue this, and let's get the ball rolling. So, very cool. But yeah, let's just get talking about some of the games I've been playing recently. So I got a bunch of games here. The first game I want to talk about, which I think I touched upon a little bit in the last episode of the podcast, but Bioshock 2. As you guys know, I've been playing through the Bioshock collection. I beat 1, and here's my thoughts about 2. I like the spin on it, on what they did with this game. Playing as an alpha, a big daddy. I thought it was really cool, and like having that whole perspective is very different, in how you're kind of taking care of the sisters and you're going to fight, the other sisters. The other big daddies to collect the other sisters and save them. They definitely made it more of a shooter though than the first one, so I think it kind of lost a lot of the charm that the first Bioshock had, and it kind of lost a little bit of my interest there because of it. It overall is a much more smooth experience, and I get why they did this with this game. The first one was kind of like almost like anxiety inducing. Is always, you're always thinking, oh wait, where's the next big daddy? It's always somewhere here. There's a lot of tension around that game, but that's also what kind of made it such an interesting game. But this one's a much more typical shooter kind of draw here. A bit formulaic with the structure too, you know, like half the time or like 3/4 of the time you're just kind of going through like a subway train, and then, oh hey, you know, the road's blocked, let's clear out this block. Oh hey, there's a new crazy person here I gotta go find. And you know, I don't know, it's kind of formulaic in a lot of ways like that. But other than that though, like the setting, I thought they improved on much better. They did make the game seem more like you're actually underwater. They had a lot of scenes where, you know, water is breaking into Rapture and stuff like that, and you're even walking on the ocean floor, kind of a thing. You know, I think as far as a sequel goes, especially one that didn't have Ken Levine working on it, I think they did a very admirable job, and in a lot of ways I think it was even better than the first one, but you know, again, in some other ways not as much. Yeah, no, that was really good. But this next game, Bioshock Infinite, is the main reason why I played through the Bioshock collection. You know, I love the Rapture aesthetic, but again, they didn't really push the world as much as they could have, in my opinion. But in Infinite, though, they went all fucking out. All out. You know, the music, first off, is just incredible. I loved it. You know, just how the world sounds and how it is. Like, I remember, like, within the first, like, 2 hours of the game, they had that one scene where you're kind of walking through Colombia, and then a barbershop quartet rides up on a ship, and they're just singing God Only Knows, and as a barbershop quartet, it just fits so well with the whole entire game. I remember stopping and just watching them for like the full like few minutes that they're singing. You know, it was so amazing just to walk through this world and see this. I've always loved sky aesthetics in games and just in art in general. You know, I've done art myself, carvings and stuff like that of sky cities and, you know, stuff like that. And I absolutely adore that kind of stuff. And yeah, this was incredible. This is like out of a dream of mine. It was fantastic. You know, they went 100%, 110%, you know, 120%, whatever you want to say, all in on this aesthetic, and I absolutely adored it. The actual combat and gameplay was much better than Bioshock 2, I think, as well. Yes, again, it was the more dumbed down kind of shooter experience, but you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, here they did have some more intricate kind of leveling up systems and new abilities that you had and stuff like that. And the Sky Rails was a really cool addition, so it isn't just, you know, like a running gun shooter. There's a lot of levels to it, figuratively and you know, anyway. You know, it's a much more like smooth experience. It wasn't as formulaic as Bioshock 2, but it was open world at many of the parts as well, which is really cool. So like all these battle sequences, for example, you know, you go in there and you basically have a big playground where you're going through and fighting all these people. You can go wherever you want. You can go on a sky rail, shoot them while they're there, and you can jump down, you know, drop kick a guy and then shoot another guy in the head and then jump on the rail again. You know, there's a lot of different options you can take with it, and that was really cool. So these battle sequences are by far the best of the Bioshock series. And yeah, I also really, really loved the story. And how it wraps up and everything like that. You know, I played through a bit of the DLC though, but it seemed really slow, so I'm just watching the Beyond the Sea DLC Part 1 and 2 on YouTube for the story. I played through it for maybe 45 minutes, the first one, but it was just a lot of like walking. It was like a walking simulator for the most part there. I did get to the combat part, but at that point I was like, man, I already beat the game. I'll just watch to see the story here. But that's really cool. They had like a whole thing in Rapture as playing as Booker DeWitt and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, no, like I thoroughly enjoyed Bioshock Infinite. You know, I look forward to playing through it, you know, almost every night. And yeah, no, I think that's definitely a worthy game to cap off the Bioshock series, because I think Irrational Games is disbanded now, and I don't think Ken Levine's going to jump back into the Bioshock series. And I think it's a good ending here. I don't think they should really push too much the Bioshock name. So yeah, no, absolutely love the game. Again, aesthetic, story, the combat was really good, and yeah, it was really good. Next game, which is definitely not so good, and I don't have too much to say about it, but it's called Pirates All Aboard. That's the subtitle, All Aboard. Yeah, All Aboard, B-O-R-E-D. Anyway, this game, I got it on the eShop, Switch eShop. I had a 50% discount on day one because I bought another game from the publisher, Robonauts from Cubic Games, which is actually a really good game, albeit a little bit short. But yeah, I was definitely not too happy with this. Even though I got it for about $3, it was just not that great. There's so little content here. Maybe I should have researched it, whatever. But, after the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I've been on a big pirate kick. I really like this stuff, and I don't have Xbox One, so I couldn't really play Sea of Thieves. But, this made me think of the ship combat in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but with a top-down view. The graphics look pretty, they look pretty. They looked good enough. Right, so I jumped all in on it. I saw Cubic Games. This could be a pretty good game still, but yeah, it basically has 2, maybe 3 different modes here. It's just so frustrating. So the first mode, it's basically like the typical ship combat where you're playing just to get a high score after like 5 minutes, and you just start at a corner of a circular map with a couple islands in the middle, and you go and shoot these other ships. You have a choice of 3 ships you can use. And you have your, starboard cannons or whatever, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You go up beside people and you shoot them, and that's pretty much it. So that's one mode, and that's pretty much it. There's no story, no levels, no nothing. Then there's the multiplayer, which is the same thing as this, which that first mode is basically just in prep for the multiplayer, which this game, to be fair, is mainly for multiplayer, but there just isn't anything building it up, and when I read through the description, it didn't seem like it was entirely based on multiplayer, but apparently it is, because this is like the only mode that has like some different levels in it, I guess. Not levels even, it's just different maps. I think there's only like 5 of them, but they look the same. It's just fucking water. Yeah, no, not good. And then the third thing, which I thought, this could be its own, I think it was like a high score battle thing or something, but no, it's not even a battle. It's basically, you're just steering your boat left to right as it automatically scrolls going up, and you're just avoiding islands and collecting gold coins and going for as long as you can. It's basically just a shitty version of any iPhone game or Android game you can find, and that's it. That is the game, and it's just super disappointing, because like my Switch buying catalog, all the games I bought on the Switch so far have been quality games. I don't think I bought a single game that was actually bad, but yeah, this is the first one, and I'm just happy I didn't spend $5 or $10 or $15 on it. $3. In fact, I only used my Nintendo gold coins for it too, so technically I didn't spend any of my money on it, so that's fine. But it's just disappointing, especially coming from Cubic Games, because Robonauts is really good. But yeah, just something about this, just lack of content, just lack of depth in anything. It had much more potential, but obviously $3 game, well, half off, so I think they're selling it for like $7 or something in Canada. So yeah, I would have been really pissed if I spent my full money on it like that. So stay away from pirates, all aboard. I don't think you really needed the alert for that. I feel like most people were going to stay away anyway, but anyway. Next game I want to talk about quickly here, because I didn't play through it all, is Batman Arkham Knight. I played for a few hours before God of War came out, but I was not really feeling it. The Batmobile was fun for the first few times that you were using it, but now it's just kind of blah. I just want to kind of push through it. The puzzle solving was kind of whack. I don't know, the combat is decent, but still the exact same as all the other Arkham games. And, it still has the issue I find with a lot of the stealth games, where you don't know if you will get caught or not, or if they're looking at you, and it's just not clear, so half the time you don't feel like it's your error. I will go through the game as I played all the other Arkham games except for Blackgate, even though I did have it on Vita, but I sold that before I really bothered getting through the whole thing. I did play it for maybe an hour, and then I found it was just kind of shit. Yeah, I don't know. I've enjoyed all the Arkham games. They're all, decent games. But yeah, Arkham Knight, though, just wasn't sticking with me. And after God of War, I'm really going to probably have high expectations for games I'm playing. But I will go back to it. I will beat this game. Yeah, we'll see where that goes, but Arkham Knight kind of a downer right now for me. And the last game I wanted to talk about was God of War. Yes, so I might do a full video about my final thoughts on God of War. It really is that good, but I do have some things I want to talk about regarding its reception in that video as well. But yeah, just as far as my initial impressions, guys, this game is fucking phenomenal so far. So I just got Mimir. I get Mimir. That's all I will say. That's about as far as I am. But I think I'm decently far, like 10 or so hours in this weekend I've put into it. The graphics, first off. I'm playing on a 720p TV and it looks stunning. I'm really excited to get a 4K HDR TV. I will probably be getting that around Christmas time this year to see how it looks when I will likely replay it again. But yeah, how the game starts, it's basically a masterclass in game design. The first hour and a bit is so beautifully done. Story-wise, gameplay-wise, it's just amazing. Like, this is like pinnacle of game design right here. The combat is unreal, best I've ever seen in a game, maybe. It's really is so good. I look forward to every time I face off against enemies in this game. And this is why the game is probably one of the best in the last decade. Seriously. So many other games, after a little while, you get sick of the combat. Like you fought so many characters so often. This was kind of a problem with the first 3 God of War games. The combat kind of grows stale after, the 500th time that you're hitting enemies in the exact same combo. But this has the challenge that you need to keep, it has the challenge I need to keep me interested. The depth it has, the customizability, while still not seeming like it's hindering your moves too much, which I found a lot in these kind of games where, oh, you only have a certain amount of button presses, so now you can only do this many combos here, or oh yeah, you have to fill in these item slots here to use these different things. They're not doing that as much, which is really good. Yeah, just the combat is again like another like pinnacle of like game design right here. That first like hour and a half was amazing, and the combat in this game is amazing. It just seriously, it's like this game is such a huge surprise to me. This kicks the shit out of the other God of War games before. I enjoyed those games quite a bit. I played through all of 1. I played through a bit of 2. Honestly, kind of just didn't really push through it. I don't know why people say God of War 2 is the best one, but yeah. And then I went through all of 3. I didn't play Ascension though, but yeah. Frankly, I thought those were way overrated. But yeah, I can't wait to play through this game. God of War here of PS4 is so amazingly good. And it's just, again, it's so damn good. It's already my game of the year so far. Easy, hands down. It's right there, guys. It really is that good. I highly, highly, highly suggest you guys pick this game up. I guess one thing I want to bring up just right now is, like those are the things that they've done like almost perfectly. There are some issues here that I don't even know if I want to call them actual problems with the game per se, but it's more of just games made from Sony and games like this, and how this game really just kind of takes a lot from other series that have developed it to a certain standard and to a point which this upholds. It upholds it really well. And it even pushes the envelope a little bit in some ways, but this, I made a tweet about it. It's basically God of Uncharted, The Last of Us Tomb Raider edition or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it is so heavily focused and similar in the narrative aspect, in the traversal aspect, exploration, collectibles. It's so similar to those games in a lot of ways, which is, to be fair, it is a negative to the game. It loses a lot of originality because of it. But like, if the combat wasn't nearly as good, that would be a big negative point for me. But because the combat is so good, and again, like the parts that it's basically taking from other games, those aren't bad things in the games. It's just so familiar, which is kind of sad to see from a game that's so unique and different in a lot of ways, that then to have it kind of phone in on some of these aspects that we've seen in so many games recently. That's kind of disappointing, and that's pretty much my only negative I have for the game so far that I can think of off the top of my head. But again, I don't want to focus on that too much, because like, again, this game is fucking phenomenal. Like, I can totally see why this game's getting 10s all over. Like, it is so well deserved. It really is. Like, I'm shocked that Santa Monica can do a game like this. Sony Santa Monica. I'm legitimately shocked how well this game has come together. So Again, guys, highly suggest God of War. Hope you guys, have fun with it. And yeah, hope you guys look forward to my video that I'll likely have up at some point after I finish the game, just talking about my final thoughts on God of War. Again, I did have some things to talk about reviewers with, with US developers and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll get into that at that video. But yeah, that's the end of for all the games I've been playing recently. And now let's get into some hot matches. These next two segments of hot matches are also going to be separate videos I post on the channel. One is about the top 5 changes required for Pokemon on Switch, and the other is my top 5 reasons why Nintendo is still supporting the 3DS. I hope you guys enjoy, and again, I want to thank you guys for watching No Filter Nintendo Podcast, and I will see you all next time. With all of the recent fake quote-unquote leaks, it is clear how much people are hyping themselves up for Pokemon on Nintendo Switch. And if the game does come out in 2018, then I can honestly see the leak that looked like an up-res 3DS port being representative of the actual game. If it comes out 2019 or later, then maybe I'd be excited. Remember the Wii U? When Nintendo started making games for an HD system and how much longer it took for them to develop these games. So with an announcement, not even a teaser in June 2017, do you actually expect to see the next big, new, revolutionary HD Pokemon game to come out holiday 2018? I just can't see it, unless they are doing, in fact, a quick phone-in up-res 3DS game. As for the new, revolutionary, switched-up HD Pokemon game, here are my 5 changes that I think are an absolute must. Number 1. A new 150 or 200 Pokemon. With some of the Gen 1 and 2 starters, and that is it. Hell, the rest can be DLC if they really want, but they need to limit the amount of Pokemon to make it seem less intimidating to newcomers, reduce scope, and flesh out the new ones included. Number 2, they need to make a full, breathing, livable, lush world. Almost make the game like a sim game as well, really put you into the mind and body of a Pokemon trainer. Take care of the Pokemon, but not just in mini-games. Feed yourself to keep yourself going, Have more engaging camera angles and more action-packed areas, full 3D, usable, livable cities. Give the player choice and not just a set path. Number 3, the story is not that important here. If they give you your own choices and your own journey, the story is kind of a little irrelevant. What they should do is create a new interesting antagonist that can grab onto the more mature gamers out there. That would be a benefit, so long as it isn't just a Team Rocket or something like that. How about something like a sinister, evil Don Giovanni type character, something mysterious, truly evil, something that's kind of looming presence over your entire journey, giving you the reason why you want to jump forward and become a Pokemon master. That's something that they could do. Doesn't need to be the most intricate story with the craziest character development or anything like that, but having something like that could really have a push for more mature audiences to pay attention, as well as the younger audiences as well. Number 4, revolutionize the battle system. Keep it turn-based though, it needs to be turn-based, but please don't go with the Ni no Kuni style real-time combat. It was kind of awful, to be honest. Keep it turn-based, but spice it up a bit. More action, quicker, more pretty, less robotic on the eyes, you know what I mean? Another reason to limit the scope of Pokemon too, to create enough interesting animations with each of them and really just engage the audience here. Again, keep it turn-based, but really build up this battle system to something that isn't as robotic and plain as we've been accustomed to over the last 10 or so games. Number 5. Somehow keep the game accessible for kids in the casual market while still being interesting and engaging for the more mature market. We've seen kids jumping into Fortnite or Minecraft and doing some crazy things recently. So please give them a little bit of credit. They can handle some depth in their games and more intricate gameplay. Of course, this will be incredibly difficult to do effectively, but with the proper planning, I think it's possible. So there it is, those are my 5 changes required for Pokemon on Switch. I don't think any of these are too crazy of an idea, especially for a company that has literally made billions off of the Pokemon IP. The way I see it, Pokemon on Switch should be getting the Breath of the Wild treatment. You know, it should be completely revolutionizing the game. They should not be skimping out on anything. They should be going all out, all the money they need to create the best Pokemon game ever created. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know what you guys think Pokemon on Switch should have in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Everywhere online you see people asking why Nintendo is still supporting the 3DS. It doesn't seem like too many are actually putting thought into why Nintendo is doing this, so I'm here to give you guys 5 reasons they're still supporting the 3DS. Let's get started. Number 1. This is their backup source of revenue. Putting all of their eggs into one basket, the Switch, is a bad business decision for anyone. Their mobile market is not quite up there yet, and Amiibo has certainly declined as of late. They need another pillar, and the 3DS is it. Number 2. This is their backup plan. Let me ask you this. What if the Switch was a failure? What if it was received as well or worse than the Wii U? This isn't some far-fetched outcome. It could have easily happened if the cards weren't played just right. The 3DS would have been their only other thing to stay relevant. They likely had all of these games lined up beforehand in case of poor reception for the Switch. I also don't think Nintendo thinks they have any home run yet, and no one should. Sure, the Switch is selling great, but they need to keep pushing. Remember, the Wii U was doing amazing its first year, and then it dropped off a cliff. Number 3. All of these games coming out. Think, all these JRPGs which are awesome like Dragon Quest, Ever Oasis, Monster Hunter Stories. 2017 was still a really good year for the 3DS, all things considered. And we can see that with its sales surpassing the 2016 3DS sales. But 2018, I think we see Nintendo dropping off hard. They have remakes, lesser known titles, etc., etc. But they are keeping these to keep that pillar strong. Which brings me to number 4. Which is why they announced Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story so far in advance, even though there was no reason to. Just to show some solidarity and reassure Nintendo 3DS owners, particularly the new ones who have bought so many 3DS games recently, that they have support for the 3DS through to 2019, even if it is just remakes and smaller titles. Number 5. The hardware. The games are much less demanding, so they are quicker to make, cheaper to make, and can play a role. Not to mention, I just loved the 3D. And I can already see myself 10 years down the road going back to play 3DS games for the novelty of the 3D. Although I do wish more games towards the end of the life used it to its fullest, but the 2DSs are hindering that. But hey, Luigi's Mansion Remake will be pretty great to see in 3D. So there it is, those are the 5 reasons why Nintendo is still supporting the 3DS in 2018 and beyond. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys all next time.